It's nice to see you.
I call this meeting to order. Roll call, please. Mrs. Clark.
Trustee Bertelson?
Here.
Trustee Black?
Here.
Trustee D?
Here.
Trustee Lucine?
Here.
Trustee Moran? Here. Trustee Neal?
Here.
Trustee Reinhardt?
Here.
Trustee Wilson?
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome to the January 27th Bozeman School District School Board meeting. Thank you for joining us. Public comment will be taken throughout the meeting on agenda and non-agenda items. During public comment, no member of the public will be allowed to comment on contested cases, other adjudicative proceedings, or personnel matters. The public portions of this meeting are being recorded in accordance with District Policy 1420 and Section 2-3-214 MCA. By remaining in this meeting, all participants and attendees acknowledge they may appear on the recording, which will be placed on the school district's website for a minimum of 1 year from today. Further instructions about participating will be provided throughout the meeting. Before we engage in the business of the board, I would like to share with all the core purpose of the Bozeman School District, which can be found on the back of our nameplates. It reads Bozeman Public Schools exists to ensure high-level learning for all students. We will now move on to agenda item 2.3, recognition and awards. Up first is the 2024 Bozeman High School Football All-State Individuals. Mr. Ader.
I'll be very quick tonight. We'll introduce Coach Weshy of the Bozeman Hawk football team. Made the playoffs, I don't know how many years in a row. It's like the 6 years since I've been here. They've been in the playoffs every year. Very competitive season, did well. Coach Weshy's a leader amongst the football coaches in the AA, and I'm going to turn this over to him so he can introduce his all-state athletes.
Thank you. Welcome, Coach Weshy.
It's already good. Oh, thank you.
Coach, if you could bring your All-Staters up here with
Come
you.
on up, guys. I don't know where I need to sit for this.
You can sit
microphone.
anywhere right there.
All right.
You gentlemen are welcome to sit, stand close to your coach. Or, yeah.
2011, Mark, was the last time we missed the playoffs, so I wasn't the coach then. We've been very lucky to have obviously great players, and that shows. We're here to recognize these guys. The biggest thing for me is I would like to just recognize my team. They're an amazing group of individuals, and while only 3 of them are sitting here, there was 95 of us this year that put forth a great amount of effort, and I had a great amount of perseverance. And unfortunately, only one team gets to host the trophy at the end of the year, and it wasn't us this year. And I think that directly affects how many all-state selections we have. But I think these guys are a great representation of Bozeman High School. I think our team is a great representation of Bozeman High School and the community that Mr. Mills and our assistant principals are trying to build. And very proud of them, all of them. We were 6-4 this year. They made the playoffs. These young men were a part of a team that won 15 straight games between last year and this year, which is the longest winning streak in Bozeman High School history. So they've got their names and fingerprints all over of what's been a pretty successful program for the last few years. So like I said, very proud of them. We had taking care of business in the classroom. I don't want to forget this. We had 25 academic all-state selections, and as a team, our team GPA was over 3.0 for the 10th year in a row. So very proud of that aspect of our team as well. So I guess speaking just specifically about these individuals, the first one I'll talk about is Brady Casagranda. He was a senior this year, but he is a 4-year starter for us. He has started more games than any other player in Bozeman High School history, and never had a miss. He played in every single game he was available or had an opportunity to play in. And having 43 consecutive starts is unheard of. So that in and of itself is a great accomplishment. But if you boil him down just to that, he's a 3-time first-team All-State selection at outside linebacker. He's a 1-time All-State selection at running back. I don't know if he's the greatest Hawk, but if he's not the greatest Hawk to ever play here, then he's going to be considered one of those forever. But he had a great year again. This year was more productive and one of the greatest leaders we've ever had. The guy sitting next to him is a junior, Evan Hewen. He was a 2-year starter. He started as a sophomore last year for us. Last year was a second-team All-State selection at corner. This year he started on both sides of the ball at receiver and cornerback, and was a first-team All-State selection at cornerback as well as a second-team All-State selection at wide receiver. Led our team in receptions, led our team in interceptions, was third in AA in interceptions, and just a heck of a player and a great leader. He works as hard as anyone I've ever met, and if you're ever out and about Bozeman High School, he's out there working on something in the summertime even when we're not there as a team. And he's an absolute grinder. And then the young man sitting next to him is Simon Harbor. He's a 2-time first-team All-State selection. He was a senior this year. He also started, he started 22 consecutive games. 8 of them at offensive tackle, 8 of them at offensive guard, and the rest of them at offensive tackle this year. He went from an first-team All-State offensive guard playing on the interior to a first-team All-State offensive tackle, which is pretty unheard of because the skill set is completely different and the athleticism requirements are completely different. And I think that speaks to the type of player that he is. All of these guys were captains and well-deserved. And we have to go through an application process now to even be a captain at Bozeman High. And they meet every standard that we could ever ask for. So unbelievably great young men, and I'm going to let them speak for themselves now, and just thank you for hearing me out.
That was amazing. Thanks, Coach. Any trustee questions for the Hawks? Kevin?
Well, congratulations to all of you guys. Great, good run for the last 2 years, or actually since you guys have been in our high school. I guess I would just ask either of you, or well, 2 seniors, what are you guys' plans?
I'm gonna go play football at Montana Tech next year, so I have no clue what I'm gonna do with my future, so but I'm sure I'll figure it out.
All right, that's all right as well. And then I guess for the season, or if because all of you guys have played multiple years, is there a memory specifically that you guys have that this is what makes it worth? I know Coach Weshy said you guys grind a lot on everything, so you guys have something that sticks out?
I'd say probably my favorite memory from my football career comes from the 2023 state championship team. We're in the 4th quarter, and we sent a punt team out there, and we were great on this team, on this unit, like the whole year. And I didn't block my guy as well, and they tipped the ball over. And I coming off to the sideline, was pretty mad at me, barking at me. Deserved. But we ended up getting a pick to seal the win, and I just remember running up to Weshy, giving him the biggest bear hug, and I don't know, that moment kind of meant a lot to me because, it's like even when you go through tough times, it's just like football, it's a brotherhood, and they're always there to, like pick you up whenever you need it. Definitely just winning the state championship, and then my freshman and sophomore year, I was very lucky to be able to play with my brother, so that was a lot of fun.
Tanya?
I have a question on the GPA. I think that's actually really high for a football team to have that. And you keep coming back year after year. And I'm curious from the student perspective, what does that look like from your team's perspective on how you're maintaining that? Are there study groups that you guys are putting together? Are you pressuring the others on the team? What does it look like from your perspective?
There's definitely pressure to keep your grades up, especially when you're a captain, because we have that whole application process. But I'd say, for me at least, it was more of just an individual thing, taking care of business off the field to make sure you're eligible to play is a big role, and in the end, that's going to help your team the most to make sure that you can actually go out on the field to do your job.
Brady, those are pretty big statements your coach just made about you in the conversation of best hawk of all time. There's been quite a few high achievers that have been through that program over the decades. So congratulations for that. Well earned, well deserved. And there's a lot of Hawks that play at Tech, I think, right now, right?
Yeah, I think there's three.
Three? Yeah. What was the process like on deciding where you were going to go to college?
It just came down to what felt like the best fit, and having my brother up at Tech too, so just getting to see like everyday life up there and how he enjoyed it, and just being able to further my education, set me up for life after. So it was just all that, and then how the coaching staff was to me, and
Engineering?
something like that. I'm not sure yet.
And Evan, you're a junior?
Yeah.
So you're kind of starting the process of figuring out post-high school.
Hoping to play in college, so wherever that takes me.
Yeah. Yeah. Gary?
Yeah, well, thank you and congratulations to you guys. It's well deserved. And just a comment, I've been watching Hawk football for many years and really want to shout out to the coaches. So I appreciate Coach Weshy and your team, coaching team, creating a real good culture. You're fun to watch. And would like to thank the parents for the support to assist you guys in some things you have to do and support your time. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that our community is second to none. Our parent group makes my job very easy, and I know what the jobs look like for other coaches around the state. And I'm allowed to do a lot of coaching because I have people there that are going to make sure that our program is moving in the right direction right along with me. It's not just me shouldering the load by myself.
Thank you very much. I think Trustee Moran has the award.
Congratulations to all three of you. As a mother who has 2 kids in the program, I thank y'all for being good leaders on and off the field. Brady, I will never forget when you brought Michael home from speed training and he was in 7th grade. And he was so nervous because he was riding with Brady and you made him feel so welcome. So thank you. Thank all 3 of you. Evan, it'll be interesting to see what you do next year. And Brady, good luck at Tech. And Simon, whatever you do, you'll do well. I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Bozeman High football team finished the season with a 6-4 record and advanced to the first round in the state AA football playoffs. And whereas earning first team All-State honors are Brady Casagranda, Simon Harbor, Evan Hewen. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor the Bozeman High football first team All-State individuals, Brady Casagranda, Simon Harbor, and Evan Hewen.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Moran, seconded by Trustee Wilson. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations, guys. Got a super fan back there. If you gentlemen would be willing to meet Trustee Moran in the hall for a picture along with Coach. Thanks, Coach Weshy, for coming. Thanks to your parents for coming tonight as well. Next, 2024-25 Gatorade Player of the Year, Volleyball, Gallatin High School.
Thank you. I will introduce Coach Erica Gustafson, and she will talk about her Gatorade Player of the Year.
Excellent. Welcome, Coach Gus.
Hello, glad to be back. Yeah, we were here a couple weeks ago, I guess maybe a month, so I don't know, it's kind of flown by. This is a really outstanding honor. For Cade to win Gatorade Player of the State is really remarkable. To my understanding, I think she's only the 3rd in Bozeman Public School history to win Gatorade Volleyball Player. I think what's also really remarkable, I was kind of reflecting on this as I was driving here, is I remember meeting with Cade last year in our exit meeting, and we're talking about goals for the upcoming year. And she looked me dead in the face and she said, I want to win a state championship and I want to be Gatorade Player of the Year. And she did it. You know, and I think one thing with Cade, and I know I kind of said this last time I was here, is I don't think I've coached a volleyball player ever that is such a student of the game. Cade watches a ton of film. She wants to grow. She wants to understand it. She wants to make herself and her team better in any way, and me better in any way that she can. She puts in, I mean, she was in the weight room with our team every morning, and then she was doing extra stuff at the pit. And she was all the kind of the behind the scenes thing that you would expect the Gatorade Player of the Year to do. Cade was doing it. Cade's very goal oriented. And it's just been a real pleasure to coach her, and it's really exciting for her to leave that mark. You know, we kind of talked about last time leaving that mark as the first state championship in Gallatin history, and to know that she's going to have her picture up on the wall, not only as an all-state player, but as the Gatorade Player of the state this year, was really remarkable. And she really left everything out there this year, I feel like, for our team and for herself, and really helped take us to where we were, finishing 28-2 and winning a state championship. And the stats that Cade was able to put up, you know, and we were kind of reflecting out this too. I said at the banquet, there's going to be very few people, I think, now that will play 4 years of varsity. And so the stats that Cade has put up, I think are going to be there for a very long time, which I think is just, again, a testament to her, and each year her getting better. One thing I really love about Cade too, kind of Gatorade, you know, is obviously not just kind of the on the court stuff. But Cade really gives back to the game of volleyball. Since I've met her, she's always been, I mean, her family is very volleyball oriented, obviously. But she coaches, she's phenomenal at coaching little kids. I really feel like she's worked so hard to continue to spread the love of volleyball to girls, whether it's at camps, she's coaching club teams, and really giving back, I think, in that way is such a huge thing, because she's such a role model for little girls to look up to on and off the court. And I don't think there's a more deserving kid to get this award. And I feel really lucky that I was able to coach her 3 of her 4 years. But to send her out on this note is a really awesome thing. So very proud of her, and she can kind of answer any questions.
That was great. Thanks, Coach Gus.
Yeah.
Cade, who were the other 2 Bozeman Gatorade Players of the Year for volleyball? Do you know? I was just wondering if one of them has your last name.
No.
Okay.
Caitlin Lonergan was 2015. That was the most recent. And then I feel like there was one in the early 2000s. I was trying to reflect as I'm walking up the ramp at Bozeman High, looking at the pictures, and I think there was only one other volleyball one that I ever saw, Jordan something. She might have been in the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s.
Okay.
I think when Joe Wilcox won a championship, that was the last one, other than Caitlin.
Cade's mom was a pretty good volleyball player.
Passed it on.
But this is not about her right now. Any trusty questions for Cade? Leanna.
Well, first, congratulations, and for all your hard work and all your accolades and your accomplishments. I'm curious, do you have a story about how you got started in volleyball?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was about 8. And at my house, we have a grass volleyball court. And so I just remember, obviously, with my mom and the background she has, just always wanting to go out and get reps in my backyard was always one of my favorite things. And I finally realized, like, this is starting to click. And so I started playing club volleyball when I was 10. I played on a 12s USAB team for Big Sky. And then I just, fell in love. I just knew instantly that's what I wanted to do. Yes.
Kevin.
Congratulations. What do you look forward to the most?
Looking forward to?
Yeah.
I'm excited to continue playing high-level volleyball, where I'm committed to. I'm super excited to continue to play at such a high level that's going to elevate my game even to the next level. I'm just excited to continue learning and continue growing in this sport that I love.
What are you gonna, do you have an idea what you're studying?
Criminology. Yep,
And you're going to K-State.
I am, yes.
How many schools did you consider?
Lots. I had lots that reached out, but I knew pretty early that K-State was where I wanted to go, but.
I just remember, this just makes me laugh. I remember Kate coming in, she was like, hey, like, let's touch base. I've been narrowing down my list, and she handed me like this written list, and it was like 30 colleges. She's like, these are the top 30 I'm considering. And I was like, and I haven't had an athlete that had like, I mean, and these were all like big schools, and I was like, okay. And then it was pretty quick, she narrowed down, you know what I mean, those couple that she was looking at, and then K-State from really early on. I mean, that was, she made it easy, I guess, in that way, right?
How many official visits did you take?
I just took one. Yeah, I committed to K-State super early. I had 3 other officials lined up, but I had went to camp early on, so I had kind of already seen the university. And with college volleyball recruiting, it's definitely different. You don't have as much time, so I finally called my coach. I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be, and I told those other colleges, like, sorry, I found my fit, and yeah.
That's a much different place than Montana.
Yes, lots
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Gary?
Yeah, well, congratulations, and want to thank your parents and your coaches for everything. So I have a question for each one of you. The history of Gallatin High School is very short. So I'm curious from each one of your perspectives, what has allowed volleyball, for one, and even the other sports to really excel in such a short period of time?
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
I'd say coaches and athletes. We've been obviously gifted so heavily in the facilities that we're able to train in every day, whether that's weight rooms, gyms, but I would say it definitely stems from the athletes that are able to go to that school, but then the coaches, 100%. The coaching staff that we have at Gallatin is unmatched, and so I feel like they are the ones that grow us in the weight room, in the practice gyms, and yeah, that's what I would say for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Bozeman for about 14 years now, and, you know, had the opportunity to teach and coach at both schools. And I was surprised that things came along as fast as they did once the split happened. But I think that just goes to show that there's so many phenomenal athletes in this town. I really do. And I've always said, you know, a lot of people have the perception of like, oh, it must be nice. You had 2,300 students. You get to just pick from. But I think above that is competition breeds competition. And that's very present in this town. I think another thing, when kind of Gallatin opened and kind of the group of people moved over coaching, we had a lot of meetings about what kind of community we wanted to create kind of within our athletic program, because we really value athletics and what it brings to our athletes and to our school. And we were all very much on the same page and work as a team with that. And I think that really shows to our athletes of the expectation between each program is the exact same of, you know what I mean? We're running 3 sessions of weights, and we're all going to be in there. Everybody's putting in the time and working really hard. And we're really lucky to have athletes buy in and that really want to get better and push themselves, and I think buy into our programs. And yeah, I mean, this whole valley, we're just really lucky. There's a lot of really great athletes and coaches in this valley, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, well, that's great. And before we move on to the award, just so you know, Cade and Claire, your principal, would be here tonight, but she is being surprised, and Helena receiving a Principal of the Year award tonight, which is why our superintendent's not here. And Principal Schnee would definitely be here for you too, if not for that, just FYI. So you now know before she knows, probably.
We won't go on Insta. We won't
Don't
go
go
on Insta,
text
don't
that
worry.
or
Yeah.
don't go text that or
Lips
blast
are-
that.
lips are sealed.
This is not a live stream, so.
Yeah.
Trustee Wilson.
Well, congratulations, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're an Anderson student, correct, also? You went there after I retired, but I've seen you through the halls throughout the years, so that's very exciting. I'm very excited for you, and I'm very excited for your future. And with that, It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Gatorade Company has named Gallatin High volleyball player and member of AA State Championship volleyball team Cadence Lundgren as its 2024-25 Gatorade Montana Volleyball Player of the Year. And whereas Cadence is a two-time first-team All-State selection, four-time academic All-State selection, 2024 Eastern Conference Player of the Year, and finished her high school career with 932 kills and 415 blocks. Wow. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor Cadence Lundgren as the 2024-25 Gatorade Montana Volleyball Player of the Year.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Wilson, seconded by trustee Lucine. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks, Coach Gus.
Yes, thank you guys.
Could you guys join trustee Lucine in the hall for a picture, please? Sorry, trustee Wilson.
Just real quick there, and it was kind of brought up in there. Gatorade Player of the Year obviously is athletic excellence. It's also academic excellence. There's an application process. We have to get their transcripts. They have to get letters of reference. They have to do community service. So it's for the well-rounded athlete. And as we know, we have somebody on here who's on the board whose child's gone through that before. It's a pretty extensive process. So now I'll introduce Graydon Curry of Gallatin High Cross Country to talk about his athlete, and I believe she's been here a couple times already for this.
Couple times. Thanks, Mr. Ader. Graydon and Claire, come on up. I know, Claire, this is your favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thanks for coming.
3 times. 3 times. 6 times if you include all states in there, and 2 more for track probably in the mix too.
Plus a team state championship.
Team state title in the mix too. Yeah, I was trying to think on the way here where to even start, honestly, with Claire, who you guys have seen over and over again. And yeah, as Greg just mentioned, it's not her favorite thing in the world to be in front of you all and be honored. It's like, it's a very humbling, she's a very humbled person, I would say. And I think that's really cool. Something that really rubs off on our program. And she has just so many amazing qualities as a leader and as an athlete and as a human being. Thought maybe I'd start with some of those. As a coach, kind of one thing you're always looking for is hardworking kids, of course. She is hardworking in every imaginable way that you could possibly think of. Obviously running, people think, oh, run more, run faster, you'll be better. That's not true, though. You have to run smarter as well. And so we like to use the word discipline instead of hardworking, and she is the most disciplined person I've ever been around in all aspects of running. When it comes to running appropriate paces, appropriate mileage, the coachability is off the charts. She's leading the categories there. Other little things, strength, nutrition, sleeping well every single night, studies. When you're 3-time Gatorade Athlete of the Year, they look into the grade point average. They look into what you do outside in the community. They look into your leadership, and she is a phenomenal leader. She does great stuff with the community, like we did Operation Holiday stuff again this year, and she's right in the forefront. She's probably the last person to leave and the first person to show up to that. It's really an honor, and like I said, I have trouble figuring out where to even start with her. There's just so many amazing qualities that she possesses. I also wanted to add that Gary was mentioning, where does kind of this success come from with our new program through Gallatin, all those different teams. And the thing that I've noticed coming from a different school is that our parent involvement, and Coach Weschke mentioned too, the community involvement it's like next level. And so shout out to Steve and Mandy, who are in here as well. They lead the charge with team dinners. Anything we ask for our parents, and it's kind of weird to come into a place where you're like thinking of even asking parents for help. That's something I've learned to do. They're on it. and they're not overbearing. They're just like, anything we can do, and so to utilize that resource is like killer. So thanks to all of our parents as well. And then one final thing I want to say about Claire, and then I'll let you guys ask some questions. It's really interesting coaching an athlete that can win in multiple ways for a runner. I've been around many great distance runners, and usually those great distance runners have basically one strength, like great kicker. So the kid who won state for cross country this year, the only way he was going to win is if the race was slow, and you were right there, you saw it firsthand. And if the other 8 kids who could have won this year let him stick within it, and that's what happened, and that's how he won. Claire won state 3 different ways. She won the first year as a sophomore by just leading from the gun, dropping people immediately, and it was like, whoa, all right, here we go, 400 meters in, and she's calling it. And the second year, she'd gone back and forth with multiple other runners throughout the season. She goes at about 1.5 miles in, makes a surge, makes a move, and you're looking, you're like, it's still not over for sure, and she pulls away with it. And then this year, she has to react to a move that's already been made by probably her best competition of this year was Lauren Bisson from Glacier, and she surges, Claire responds. Then a couple minutes later, Claire makes her move, and it's history from there. 3-time Gatorade Athlete of the Year. That's crazy to say. That's pretty awesome. But my favorite memory is when she was actually a freshman, because we were supposed to be 6th as a team, and we had 3 girls who were looking at potentially being all-state, and 2 of them did get it, and we thought if everything goes well, we might have a shot at 3rd. But we didn't expect Claire, who was our 7th runner as a freshman, to be the one that made the difference, and she ended up being our 5th runner. She went into the race ranked 90th based on PRs, your personal record, and she got 41st that day. And that's why we were 3rd that year, and it was just really phenomenal. And she just took off from there. So true honor to coach her, and you guys should feel very privileged to be in the midst of a 3-time Gatorade Athlete of the Year as well.
That was great. Thanks, Coach. Questions for Claire? Lauren?
First of all, congratulations. And I know that you don't like being put on the spot, but I have to tell you a quick story. I was sitting at a wrestling meet last week, and there was a family in front of me, and I was eavesdropping a little as they were talking about great athletes that were coming out of Gallatin High. And this little boy said, "Did you hear that one of the best runners ever is a girl out of Gallatin High, Mom? And I think her name's Claire." And I just want you to know there are little kids who are watching you, and I just thought that was really cool. I interrupted them and I said, "You are correct. She's amazing." So I think you're also a hero to a lot of kids. So congratulations.
Gary?
I should say congratulations 3 times for this being your 3rd Gatorade Player of the Year. That's great. I'm curious from your perspective, what do you see your potential to improve in running in the future?
I haven't really thought that much about it. I'm excited to run next year and continue running, doing what I love. Yeah, that's kind of the extent to which I've thought about it. Hopefully, going to NCAA nationals would be cool for cross country or track. But yeah.
I know the answer, but why don't you tell everyone what you're doing next year?
I'll
Could
be
you speak?
running at
Yeah,
Montana
speak into the
State.
mic there.
Oh, yeah.
What-
Thank you. I'll be at Montana State next year.
Kevin?
Well, congratulations, Claire. It's been fun seeing you for the last 3 years now. Probably see you in the spring as well, so look forward to that again. What do you think outside of track, well, you can have track or cross-country, but what's your biggest impact to your school?
To my school?
Yeah, for, that you feel like this is something that I've done that has had a positive impact or impact. Could be negative, but it's not usually what we do here.
I want to share that. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's been cool to, I mean, this is kind of just with cross country and track, just getting to establish, like, be part of the groups that, you know, establish, like, the team culture. Just, yeah, with that, I don't know. Yeah.
Tanya?
So, Claire, congratulations. And Coach Curry, I choked up a little bit. I was having a conversation last week with Coach Stark, former MSU coach, and we were talking about the 5th place runner. And that story is going to resonate with me for so long because I never was first place in my entire life, never even dreamt of it. But I know what it took to be the 5th or the 7th place runner occasionally, and the tenacity that takes, and then the history of your winning streak. It's just insane. And I love the character that I know comes with that effort. And I so appreciate everything you've done. I'm also so thrilled that you are going to Montana State University. I'm just over the moon excited. And so I don't know if a lot of people have shared that with you, but there were some real whoopies going on in my living room that night when we heard about that. So thank you, and we're excited to watch your career continue. You still have a few months left of school. Have fun.
Thanks. I'll try.
Please have fun. Yeah, enjoy it. It goes fast.
Gary?
Yeah, I'm sorry I forgot this. I just want to give a shout out to Coach Curry and your team, and certainly thank the parents and the community for supporting you. But a lot of that support comes because we have good coaches and good teammates and players on our teams. So thank you very much.
So it is my pleasure to recommend that the Board of Trustees adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Gatorade Company has named Gallatin High cross-country runner and member of the AA State Championship cross-country team, Claire Rutherford, as its 2024-2025 Gatorade Montana Girls Cross Country Player of the Year. And whereas Claire won a 3rd straight Class AA individual title at the 2024 State AA Cross Country Championship and was the top Montana finisher at the Nike Cross Northwest Regional Championships. And whereas Claire also received the 2022-23 and 2023-2024 Gatorade Montana Girls Cross Country Player of the Year Award. You realize how cool that is to say that? Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees recognize and honor Claire Rutherford as the 2024-2025 Gatorade Montana Girls Cross Country Player of the Year.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Reinhardt, seconded by trustee D. Is there any public comment? Claire, before we take a vote, I just want you to know it's been a pleasure watching you, and I didn't know that story about Claire's freshman year. I was there that day and saw the Raptor girls take 3rd. I didn't know that Claire was the key person that popped a good race that day. I've been told that year you wanted to be as fast as Haley Burns. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know if I thought I could be as fast as her,
But I remember you
yes,
saying,
aspirations.
I've heard that those were your words. I want to be as fast as Haley Burns when you were a freshman.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and you've surpassed everything. So congratulations on an amazing high school career. Track and field, here we come.
Heck yeah.
So, all in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Congratulations. Coach, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming. If you guys could join trustee Reinhardt in the hall, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Up next is consent agenda.
I'd make a motion to approve items 3.4 and 3.5.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Black, seconded by trustee Wilson. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Up next, 5.3, board discussion. You're looking at me like I did something wrong, Lacey?
2 questions, sorry.
Okay.
Who seconded the Claire's?
Claire's?
Yes. Oh.
Trustee D.
Okay, thank you. And then we have to run 3.5.1, 3.5.2 separately.
Thanks, Trustee Black.
Sorry.
You're welcome.
So fast. I wanted to comment on 3.4.2.
Okay, so let's,
Should I just wait till the
Quid,
public comment?
you want me to throw away the
nope,
motion?
we
What do
will
I do?
take it now. We just need to back up. Okay,
I would make a, m- I would,
sorry, yep.
I would make a motion to approve items 3.4.1 and 3.4.2.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Black, seconded by Trustee Bertelson. We'll now take public comment. Can you please come forward and have a chair and write your name down on the clipboard, please, and speak into the microphone, and don't feel rushed. That's just all my instructions for you. Well, if there was a whole line of people, I'd give you 2 minutes, but it looks like it's just you, so. And please just let us know your name before you just make your comments, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. My name is Danielle Nicholas, 409 South Fifth Avenue. And yeah, I wanted to comment on the student well-being goals and action. So first of all, to all the trustees, like, thank you so much for all your work. I know it's a really thankless job, and I know with the well-being work too, there's a lot at stake. So I appreciate the diligence that you've been working on the issue. So I'm the mother of a freshman girl at BHS, and I also teach up at MSU a lot of resilience and emotional regulation skills, and so see the impact of lots of social media, cell phones, etc., and see the impact, right? So I'm working with the 18-year-olds, so they were kind of the free-for-all folks. And my students are reporting, anxiety, depression, I'm addicted to my phone, and in fact they are, because I give them little challenges about, not picking up their phone as soon as they have that impulse, and to take 3 breaths first and then pick it up, and they're like, oh my gosh. And even see with my daughter, I did wait until she was a freshman before getting her a smartphone, and I suggested that we have a phone-free day the other day, and she was like, oh, what? Like, I'm not gonna know what happened. Well, let your friends know at 5 p.m. you'll be checking your phone, but I won't know when it happens exactly as it happens. So just how quickly that happens. And there's a group of parents at BHS, and we formed a book group around Anxious Generation that I know you all have read as well, that have come together with concerns over the issues. And it's only the parents who have flexible enough work schedules to make a noon meeting, so I know that there's others that are interested and would like to be engaged, just can't make that time. And so just in the plan, and Johanna came and gave our PAC a presentation too, which was really well done, and I know last meeting she gave it as well, and I was able to watch online, listen to the student comments also. So, and I think that one of my biggest concerns is with the rollout not happening at the high school level till 26, 27, and I know that there's a lot of different political forces at work with this issue and fear of parent pushback, and that it not just be business as usual until 26, 27. My understanding right now is that there's no cell phones in instructional spaces at BHS, and it varies which teacher you have about whether that's enforced or not. And so to really support the teachers and the administration in getting teeth behind some of the regulations that are already in place there, and that to start working towards that goal, and like I said, just not business as usual. And there was also some citing in the well-being report about community involvement, and it does take a village to raise to raise the kiddos. And you know, encouraging, like Johanna's presentation would be great for the staff, staffs at all the schools to see, as well as more parents and the students also. So that they know, right? So it's not just, oh, the adults are telling you this and that and the other, but here's what's happening in your brains, and here's how these companies are working to hook you in. You know, I work with college students, right? So a lot of them are like, down with the man, right? And I tell them, hey, unhooking for this is the best way to give it to the man, you know? And they're like, oh yeah, this is like revolutionary. I'm like, right? And so our students are smart, and so like, hey, like take control, right? Like Bob Marley, none but ourselves can free our minds, right? And and so really giving them some of that knowledge, because knowledge is power. And let's see what I wrote my notes, because I knew I didn't want to ramble too much here. Yeah, and so to continue to make that community effort and education, and I wrote the library, and I said, you know, for your one book, One Bozeman, Anxious Generation would be a really good idea to have our whole community talking about this. And so as trustees, if that's something that you were interested in suggesting to them, I think that would be really powerful. You know, I'm Jane Doe parent, and so that it really is a community discussion. It's like, oh yeah, like let's do something about this. Let's really, as a community, gather behind our young people for this. So, what else do we have here? Yeah, and just changing the culture too, right? The like, be cool, don't have your cell phone out at school, right? Like smoking is not cool anymore, and excessive cell phone use at some point will be not cool either. And so just really helping to support that culture, and you know, and listening to the young people who are part of the well-being committee speak. Like they're on the ground. They see these things and need support around working with their peers. And I know I can't speak for all the parents in our book group, but I know that I would like to support them and the administration and you all in making this community effort to reduce and eventually eliminate cell phone use in our schools for the well-being of our kiddos. So. Oh yeah, and just, you know, if the Yonder pouches are gonna start to be piloted and things like that, like make it fun, make it cool. Like, oh, students who pilot the Yonder pouches, you know, they get entered in a raffle for XYZ or something, right? So it's not this top-down thing, but like, hey, this is this fun, cool thing. Or cell phone challenge, put your cell phone away, you know, drop it off with the secretary for the day and get entered into, you know, the raffle or whatever it is. So, so I guess those are my comments to. Yeah, I know parent pushback is a fear of the trustees and the administration, but there's also parents that support you and are willing to step up and be active in this. So, yeah, thanks for all your work, and yeah.
Thank you very
Yep.
much. There's a motion on the table for items. I just want to make sure we're on track here. 3.4.1 and 3.4.2. And there's no further public comment because there's no further public. So we will vote. All in favor? Motion passes 8-0. Now we can take a motion for the elementary district. Gary?
Yeah, I move consent agenda items 3.5.1 and 3.5.2.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Lucine, seconded by trustee Reinhardt. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Is that better, Lacey? Wonderful. Okay. Which brings us to 5.3, legislative update.
Good evening, trustees. I'll walk you through, I've got 4 bills I wanted to call to your attention since Superintendent Bertram couldn't make it tonight. The first is House Bill 252, that's the STARS Act. You'll hear pretty much coming out of every legislative session that they've funded education at a record level, but House Bill 252 truly is a significant influx of money into the public system. So that's an important one to watch. It will be heard first this coming Wednesday, Public Education Down the Hill. So trustees that are going to that meeting will be able to see that one in person at House Education Committee. Second one, House Bill 15 funds inflation for the next couple years at 3%, the statutory maximum. That's another one we're watching closely. It's cleared the House completely, and it'll be passed all along to the Senate. We're hopeful for a quick passage on that. The 3%, it's important that you know, and we've talked about this before, the 3% isn't guaranteed even if it's approved by the legislature. A portion of that has to be approved by our local voters, which brings us to House Bill 265. That bill is being carried by Luke, and I can't remember I never figured out how to pronounce his last name, the ex-trustee from Helena, Luke
Luke Miskevich.
Miscavige, thank you, who's now in the legislature. His proposal is to eliminate the need for school districts to get voter approval up to that full legislative allocation. So instead of getting 80% of the 3%, so 2.4% permissively, we would get the full 3% permissively. This would cut down on the amount we would need to approach our voters for every May, or potentially in a lot of cases eliminate that amount altogether. So that's a important one that we'll be watching closely. If it's got an immediate effective date, so if it were to pass, it could be effective as early as this May for our election. So very important bill there. And then the last one is House Bill 153, the interim study bill. I want give Trustee Lucine a minute to talk about that, but they've added some language in there to include trustees, administrators, and teachers, I believe, on that study commission. Trustee Lucine, I didn't know if you had more to add to that discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, at the hearing last Monday, a week ago today, Representative Beatty was very open to an amendment to expand that, and obviously that got done, adding teachers, administrators, and trustees onto the working group. So that was real good. So it's heading in the right direction. I don't know when it's going to be brought back to the committee yet. I have heard today that it has a good chance of getting through the House. There's some concern about the Senate on that, just for some political reasons, but I think it's going to be important for people to weigh in on that through the whole process and make our voices heard. And from that regard, I'm working with parents around the area, in Helena and Great Falls, this area, to kind of gather momentum for this bill, because I think this is the one that gives us the best opportunity to really look at our system of education and find out what do we want to fund, instead of just putting money in an old system that some pieces work, some don't. So that's an update on 153, and that's the one I'm most concerned about at this session. I'm participating in the other bills as well, but I think 153 we've got to get through, and then if it passes, signed by the governor, then the work begins to communicate with the commission and working group and go from there. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lucine.
We've shared our list of bills that we're tracking. We'll continue to keep that updated, and that was my list. Happy to answer questions on anything else you might have.
Sandy.
Where are these bills? Are they all in committee still? Or
House Bill 15, the inflation bill has passed the entire House, so it'll be moved on to, I think, Senate Ed is where it will start its journey on the Senate side of it. STARS Act is having its first hearing in House Ed on Wednesday. House Bill 265 has not been heard yet. I believe that one's going to be heard on Friday, is my recollection on that.
Thank you.
Don't quote me on that last part, but it hasn't been heard in committee yet.
But I was just curious.
Thank you, everyone. Public comment on non-agenda items. That's a no, which brings us to 7.1, Executive Cabinet Report. Okay. 7.2, Board of Trustees Reports. Well, all right, I'll adjourn this. Wow. Gary.
Just quickly, who's going to Helena Wednesday?
Thank you for asking.
And Superintendent Bertram will be there as well.
Yeah, good. Great.
Leanna, where's your hand up?
Just a heads up on that. If you know who your legislators are from your district, contact them and let them know you're coming, and would like to meet them at the luncheon at lunchtime. So, be good for them to hear. So, thanks.
Thank you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people plus 7, but he's gonna have his own car.
And Trustee Lucine needs to drive separate, is my understanding, as well.
Yes, I need to be as flexible as possible Wednesday, so I will drive myself.
So
Thanks.
7 people are going, but 5 people in the same car. So
I can get the district van, if someone's got something bigger and better, we can certainly take that, but I just recommend leaving here about 7 o'clock on Wednesday,
district van will fit 5 of us.
in style.
Oh.
In
It'll
style.
fit, it'll be tight, so if you prefer something bigger, we can do that as
Should we
well.
just bring my Suburban then instead?
That's a great idea.
Okay.
Trustee, if you walk out the door on the west side of the building, you'll also see that the district van is covered in about 6 inches of solid ice right now, so it could be a challenge it'll be ready in June.
Is there any further comment on, what are we on here? 7.2. Seeing none, I will adjourn the meeting.